Hello guys, welcome back to Day of Sham in Dubai. ഇന്ന് നമ്മളൊരു ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത് വിച്ച് ഈസ് QE2 Queen Elizabeth to Dubai. അപ്പോൾ ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ ഗ്രീൻ ലൈനിൽ വന്ന സിറ്റി സൈറ്റ്സീയിൻ്റെ ഗ്രീൻ ലൈനിൽ വന്നിട്ട് QE2 എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ആണ് ഇന്ന് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത്. ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ ടിക്കറ്റ് എടുത്താൽ 2 ഡേയ്സ് പാസിൻ്റെ കൂടെ QE2 എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ഫ്രീ ആണ്. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഏകദേശം ഒരു 15 to 20 മിനിറ്റ്സ് യാത്ര ചെയ്താൽ ഓട്ടോറിക്ഷയിലാണ്. QE2ൻ്റെ ഉള്ളിൽ ചെന്നാൽ അവിടെ ഗൈഡ് ഉണ്ട്. ഏകദേശം ഒരു മണിക്കൂർ ടൂറാണ് ക്വീൻ എലിസബത്ത് II ഉള്ളിൽ. അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ ഉള്ളിൽ പോയി നോക്കാം, അവിടെ ഗൈഡ് ഉണ്ട്, നമുക്ക് ഗൈഡ് എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്തു തരും.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, again, good afternoon. My name is Chris, and here at the QE2, we pride ourselves in the fact that we are living history. So if you'll follow me to our first stop.
നമ്മുടെ ഗൈഡ് ക്വീൻ എലിസബത്ത് II ഉള്ളിലുള്ള ഗൈഡ് എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ് ക്വീൻ എലിസബത്തിനെ കുറിച്ച്.
So ladies and gentlemen, this is where it all began. In the corner here we will see a portrait of a young Samuel Cunard, a very unlikely story of a greengrocer in the 18th century who was born in Nova Scotia. So ladies and gentlemen, the 20th of December 1964, and all that is known as a contract has been signed between the Cunard Company and the John Brown Shipping Company in Clydesbank, Scotland. There is a ship to be built under the code name of Q4. By 1967, and the business of building a ship is completed. And in fact, the Queen has been invited out on this day to commemorate the event. The idea being that she was given only 2 items, the first an envelope, the second a bottle of champagne. The idea being that the Queen would read out the name of the vessel to the waiting public and break the champagne over the bow of the ship, thereby christening her and wishing her luck at sea. However, after viewing the vessel, the Queen simply put the envelope to the side and proudly announced, "I named this ship Queen Elizabeth II. May God bless her and all who sail in her." Now this was much to the dismay of the Cunard Company, who had never intended for the Scottish-built ship to be named after the British. Ladies and gents, in 1969 the QE2 was originally launched with 11 decks. Her first refit being in 1972 that saw a first at sea with open-air balconies provided for passengers on their voyage. In 72, we also see the relocation of the library. This space was later changed to a casino and a profitable move for Cunard. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with her original 11 decks starting at the bottom, originally a steam turbine engine, and in fact the last steam turbine for Cunard, a partnership that lasted over 146 years. In 86, she was converted over to diesel electric. But enough about that now. We will speak more about the refits as we go on. Ladies and gentlemen, on deck 7 you will see space for the crew accommodation. Deck 5 and deck 6 for the tourist class, and 2 and 3 will be for first class passengers only. We also note near the aft of the ship a revolving car lift. Now ladies and gentlemen, a little known fact about the QE2 is in fact she used to ferry around 80 vehicles on her Atlantic crossings, this time with a world record. Thanks to the new power plants that were installed in 86, the QE2 manages the Atlantic crossing in a world record 4 days, 6 hours and 57 minutes. We also note the 27th of July 1990 as a time the Queen stepped on board again. This time she stepped on board to commemorate 150 years of Cunard, but is also noted as the Royal Voyage. as it was the first time the Queen or any other monarch had traveled alongside commercial passengers. As well as a radio control that is attached to the simulator. You can just button squeeze and should be able to get it out. Here we see them crossing side by side on an Atlantic voyage. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in 2004, the QE2 also surrendered her world record for the largest library at sea. In fact, the QE2 had over 6,000 books for all passengers to enjoy while on a voyage, of which we have been able to save and proudly display in our library in front of us. All of these books, if you pick them up and have a look inside, are either stamped with QE2 or with Cunard. Ladies and gentlemen, 2008, and the QE2 no longer meeting requirements of Solace, which is a company that dictates safety of lives at sea, she is set for the scrapyard. However, she is saved one last time from the chopping block by her current owner, Dubai government and PCFC Investments. Indeed, her last voyage was from Southampton to the UAE, where she is said to become the first floating hotel in Dubai. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to step on board now. But before we do, there's a few places on the outside of the ship that we've discussed today. So, ladies and gentlemen, some quick facts about our QE2. She is 293 meters long and 32 meters across the beam. That means at her widest point, she is 32, okay? She is 54 meters tall. And the first thing we're going to note this afternoon is the flag mast near the bow of the ship. And this was completely engulfed by the wall of water in 1995. If we have a look near the top, you will see the top row of elongated windows. These were also destroyed by the same wave. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if we focus above the elongated windows, we will see the first at sea in the 1972 refit, open air balconies provided for passengers. If we bring our eye line down to the second row of long,
നമ്മൾ ക്യൂൻ എലിസബത്ത് 2 ഷിപ്പിൻ്റെ പുറത്താണുള്ളത്. ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ അതിൻ്റെ ഉള്ളിലേക്ക് കയറാൻ പോവാണ്.
Welcome on board the QE2. We said prior to 94 that the QE2 had quite a strict class. So depending on your ticket, depending on the area you were allocated. Before 94, this was a first class passenger area only. It's where your first class passengers would enter and disembark the ship. Now this area has undergone a refit in 94 that saw the mirror ceiling removed, as well as a grand piano that was in the center of the island. It also had an increased seating space created. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the murals or the pictures we see on all the walls were also from 1969, the Queen Mary and the Queen Elizabeth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, both of these ships were troop carriers in the Second World War. However, we like to see the Queen Mary illustrated against the American backline, perhaps to represent her life as it is today. She is a floating hotel in Long Beach, California. And the Queen Elizabeth, a very sad story there, ladies and gents. While undergoing a refit in the Hong Kong harbor, she caught fire in 6 or 7 different places and sunk to the harbor floor. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you can still see the Queen Elizabeth today. You simply need to rent 007 Man with the Golden Gun. And there are a few scenes shot from her creation in 1967 in Glasgow, Scotland. Her world tours here illustrated by the Sydney Opera House, as well as the old American New York backline. Now this must have been a very familiar sight with 813 Atlantic crossings for the captain and the crew. We also see that Concorde has been illustrated in our mural. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a very interesting fact about the QE2 is that she was launched in 1969. This is the same year that the Americans landed on the moon. It was also the same year that saw Concorde and commercial supersonic flight. Now, ladies and gents, unfortunately, not all of us will have the opportunity to go to the moon and back. But thanks to an agreement between the British government and the Cunard Shipping Company, you could sail to America in the world's fastest cruise ship, and you could fly back home in the world's first commercial supersonic jet. This was known as a Concorde Cunard package. What we are seeing here is part of a restoration coming to Dubai as a floating hotel. To try and keep up with the Dubai standards, we are seeing an increased living space. So when she was in service, you would receive a lot smaller cabin. We also see modern amenities like a very comfortable king-size bed, as well as a smart television. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one of the great engineering feats of the for the QE2 coming to Dubai is that she used to sail on the Atlantic Ocean. This is a very cold part in the world, and coming to Dubai, she's having to survive 50+ degrees. So the engineers have overhauled all of the air conditioning. There we go. Fantastic. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, in front of you, you will see the Traveller's Cove. And before 1986, this was a high-end jewelry store. In 86, she became the first carriage at sea where your passengers could come and purchase their convenient items. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are 2 bells down in the museum. The first you heard me ring for the start of the tour. There is one more placed in the middle of the library. Ladies and gents, once you have left port, you can then come with your loved ones and see which route the captain had taken. So for instance, this one is Hong Kong. And ladies and gents, these are quite easy to understand if we break them down to layman's terms. At the top, you will see times for high and low tide. On the map, you will see directional arrows as well as a compass. And these are all used by the navigators to find the safest path. Ladies and gentlemen, the Coronia restaurant, in fact, was one of the largest restaurants on the QE2, holding more than 500 packs. This area has been completely transformed today into KickLab technology. And they will help you with private office space to rent, as well as licensing for new businesses. Maybe you're an architect or a contractor and you require boardroom space to have a meeting to discuss plans. These people are there to assist you. Maybe you have a $1 million dirham idea and you want to know how to get your business licensed and off the ground. Again, KickLab will assist you with this. What we can see in this space that is still original are the chandeliers that are hanging from the ceiling, as well as the mural at the back of the Coronia. We have put the original machines on for display, but due to Dubai and Islamic law, no longer in operation. Over on this back window would be the location for blackjack and yes, sir. The bus, we are on schedule for the bus. Only 5 more minutes to this stop and 1 more. Okay? I promise I won't let you miss the bus. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the QE2 theatre. And this area has remained relatively unchanged from when she was in service. Some of the updates to this area only include the recoverting of the seats, as well as the wallpaper we see on each wall. Ladies and gentlemen, as we saw in the diagram, this used to be called the double room and was changed in 1994 to the Grand Lounge. This is not the only change that has happened to this space. In before 86, there was a spiral staircase that came out the back of the Grand Lounge into the Royal Shopping Promenade above us. This was removed and replaced with a horseshoe staircase that started over on the left-hand side, and then over onto the right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this was removed in 94 as it said it gave very bad passenger flow. This took go ahead, but then the name is Benjamin. Thank you very much for joining me today.
അപ്പോൾ ക്വീൻ എലിസബത്തിൻ്റെ ഒരു എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ആണ് ഇപ്പോൾ കണ്ട് നമ്മൾ പുറത്തിറങ്ങുന്നത്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ വിസിറ്റേഴ്സിന് 1 സൈഡ് മാത്രമേ അലോഡ് ഉള്ളൂ, ബാക്കി മറ്റേത് ഒരു 5 സ്റ്റാർ ഹോട്ടലാണ്.